Hi there. In this video, I want to talk to you about vector collages. These four drawings here were drawings that I made for an assignment for my architecture studio this previous semester. And they asked us to draw maps. These are not cartographic maps like Google Maps presents to you. These are more like abstracting ideas maps, where you take an idea and you put it on a two-dimensional field. In this case, it was A3 portrait. Some of my other friends, they chose to do this same idea or the same mapping process, but using raster images instead of vector images. Now, that's problematic for a couple of reasons. One of the first reasons is that the image quality between different images that you source from wherever, like if it's online or if it's from a drive or whatnot, they will be different resolutions, different compressions. They'll probably have different lighting if it's photography, different fields of view, so wide angle or telephoto. And when you bring them together, this is an image that I made a couple of years ago for a different subject, but it's sort of crazy. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not that cohesive. For example, this little fern in the middle here, you can see it's quite blurry up here, and then it sort of recedes into this truck, which is very sharp, and the background is super sharp. It looks like images smashed together, and that can be fine, but that's not, I don't believe that's very cohesive in terms of bringing together four images like this, which all sort of have a signature in their look, and that's the effect. So in Rhino, this fourth image here was created by tracing, either manually or automated. So for example, this image here at the top, if I isolate this, you can see that there's a background image which I sourced from the internet, and that's giving sort of like the street morphology, the architecture that was seen at that time. And then on top of that, I just got a polyline, put it on its own layer, and drew the main outline of the building. And then for this closest building, I also drew some curves, and then I also traced in some of the texture using an automated process. Rhino 6 has this. Rhino 6 has this thing called Trace. There's a plugin which you have to download. It's free from Food for Rhino. It asks you to open an image. I'll just choose this anchor one because it's really simple. And it asks you to select a threshold. And basically it creates an outline of that dark image that you saw before. So for example, this image, that's the same image, but in Rhino it traces and gives you both sides of the black line. It doesn't take the average and give you the center line. In Illustrator, you can do the same thing, but you can take the center line. So you do the image trace option and then go to the menu and then change it from presets down to line art. And what it does is it converts the black area, it takes the average of that and creates a line, a curve, which is great. I can change the threshold and it will change the effect on that image. Can change various other aspects and then press expand, and now I have full control over the thickness. I can make it really thin, make it stupid thick, and that, yeah. So the great thing about this, as you probably guess, is that it can be distorted without losing any quality at all, and it can be changed, its size can be changed without losing any quality. So basically I took quite a few of these images and I unisolate this. You can see these images. I'll just select them by themselves. I'll press isolate. You can see they just don't quite blend, right? This image needs to be huge and it's pixelated. This image has thick lines. It doesn't have single lines. They're sort of fills if you think about it. This image is just a picture. It doesn't look anything like anything else. I mean, it doesn't look anything like that. And this image here, again, also has the thickness of the black lines, but it's been scaled down because it needs to be scaled down for the final composition. But when you bring that over, so once I've traced all of this, so undo, and I'll turn the images off. I've got this thing here, which I can now export as an Illustrator file, and it's just a bunch of curves, all vector. So bring that in, set a background, it's green, and I can create compound paths like this. And with that, I can create a gradient, which goes from inward center to outward, or a radial gradient. I can change the thicknesses of all of the curves to best tell the narrative that I wanted to tell, and to create a hierarchy within the image, and to have the ability to spend so many hours on refining the look of the image, whereas which is a far cry, you know, it's far different to trying to get all of these images and doing the same thing. There's just no way that I can make this look as I want to without sort of manually drawing on it. So the advantages of vector are seen here, I think, and that's why I believe that this final image set was cohesive, and it presents well, and it can be scaled infinitely, and you're basically taking an idea and you're creating cohesive output which can be quite easily read. If you have any thoughts about this, please chuck them in the comments, and thanks for watching.